welcome to the Central Training Program. So my name is Ruben. I'm associated with ManageEngine for the past 4 years. I do training and implementation for Desktop Central, Patch Manager Plus, Mobile Device Management Solution, and OS deployment. So here is our training schedule. It is a 5-week series, and we are in week 3 now, where we are going to see about the benefits of asset management section in Desktop Central. All the training sessions will be recorded and it will be sent to the registered participants once the webinar is over. We had patch management and software deployment session in the previous week. In case if you missed it, you can find the training videos and the question and answer discussed during the training session from the below link. So before we discuss about the benefits of asset management, let's have a quick look about the Desktop Central product. What is Desktop Central? So Desktop Central is an endpoint management software which helps you to manage all your laptop, desktop, servers, mobile phones, and virtual machines from a centralized location. And using the traditional endpoint management, we have some difficulties in coping up with the modern management features. So that is why Desktop Central offers you an unified endpoint management suite with an umbrella approach to manage all the endpoint devices from a centralized location. Using UEM Edition, you'll be able to avail the normal Desktop Central features like patching, software distribution, OS deployment. So along with that, you'll also be able to do the modern management features for Windows 10 operating system. Like you can wipe the data, you can geo-track the locations of the laptops, and also you'll be able to manage mobile devices. So all the features comes with one single suite called UEM Edition. So to know more about the UEM Edition, please refer our website. And we support all the 3 major operating systems: Windows, Macintosh, and Linux computers. For Windows, we start supporting from Windows XP till the latest version, Windows 10. And for servers, we do it from Windows 2008 server to 2019. And for Macintosh, we do it from 10.7 Leon to 10.14 Mojave. And for Linux flavors, we support for Ubuntu, Debian, Red Hat, and CentOS. You can find all the supported operating systems from our website. So let's discuss about the Desktop Central architecture. So Desktop Central product is an on-premise tool, and it follows the client and server-based model, which means you need to download the product and install it in one of your Windows client, and the agents can be deployed in all the 3 operating systems. So let me quickly show you the different ways of deploying an agent on the client. So we have an option to remotely install the agent from a product console. And if you have an AD-based network setup, that is, if you have Active Directory in place, you'll be able to create group policies and deploy the agents during startup script. And even you can manually download the agent and copy that to the client machines for installation. So these are the 3 major steps we have for agent deployment. And since this is an on-premise tool, you can either download the product and install in one of your Windows computers. If not, you can also get an instance from Windows Azure or AWS Marketplace, and you can host the solution in cloud. And to talk about the benefits of cloud-based hosting is it's going to be a cost-effective solution. And if you are placing the device in cloud, you'll have you can avoid the hardware infrastructure and its maintenance cost. And especially if you are a managed service provider, then you can manage clients from different companies by hosting the product, the central solution in cloud. And Desktop Central will also be on cloud very soon. And we also have another plan to introduce our own cloud platform called Zoho Cloud, like Windows, Azure, or AWS. Even you can get an instance from there and you'll be able to host the solution. So now to discuss more about the architecture. So once after the clients are installed, For local office machines, the clients can directly get patches or software any configuration from the main host. But when it comes to managing the clients over WAN, you can also have a distributed server which you can place it in your remote location. So distribution server is a component which acts like a bridge between your remote machines and the desktop central main host. So whenever you deploy any patch or a software or any configuration, instead of making the clients to directly contact the main host and download it, which is going to take a lot of your bandwidth and resources, what you can do, we can place a distribution server in each location. This distribution server component will contact the main host, download the necessary patches or software for the remote machine, and it is going to distribute locally. And the advantages of having a distribution server, you'll also be able to streamline the data flow. You can set the data transfer rate and the replication window time to copy the files from main host to the remote location. Say you have a site with weak bandwidth issues, so you can replicate the files only on weekends. Likewise, you have a lot of flexible options when it comes to distributed server concept. So that is about having more number of computers in a remote site. What if you have roaming agents, a sales technician who will always be on travel, a profile who moves from one location to another? You can either expose your desktop central server with a NAT address. You can either configure a public IP address and make all the remote users or the roaming users to communicate. If not, you can also place a secure gateway, so which acts like an intermediate layer between your desktop central server and the remote clients. So whenever a remote agent tries to contact the server, it will go through the secure gateway. So the communication will happen through secure gateway, which will redirect communication to desktop central host. So let's discuss about the components involved in desktop central. So I've explained about server, the agent, which has to be deployed in every client you're going to manage, and the distribution server, which has to be installed in a remote location. And when it comes to distribution server, you can even install this on Windows 7, 8, or 10. It doesn't mean you need a server always for that. Even when you manage 20 computers in a remote site, you can make any one client as a distribution server, which is going to copy the necessary files from the main host, and it is going to distribute to the remote location. And notification server is a service which runs on the desktop central main host. It uses port 8027 and it will always be on listening mode. So whenever you perform an on-demand actions, like say you want to initiate a scan immediately and check the updated inventory details, you'll be able to do that through the notification service. Not just asset scan, even if you want to take remote control or you want to chat with the users, you'll be able to do that through the notification service. And forwarding server is a secure gateway which acts between a layer between the remote clients and the desktop central main host. And then we also offer you failover server, which is going to be like a secondary server which periodically monitors the status of or the downtime of the main server. And if the desktop central host goes down for more than 2 or 3 minutes, the failover server will come into play. And we have customers all around the world. So if you would like to have or check the console using your local language, you can also avail a language pack, and you can see the desktop central UI as per the language pack you purchased. So now we saw about the implementation, that how you can deploy the server and what are the ways you have for deploying an agent, and what is a secure gateway and what is distribution server. Now let's discuss on the communication flow between the clients and desktop central server. Desktop central architecture is capable to manage even large networks up to 20,000 to 40,000 computers, and this is possible because of the refresh policy what we have. So refresh policy is a 90 minutes contact time between the agents and server. For example, if a client contacts the server at 10 o'clock, it's going to communicate next by 11:30. That is 90 minutes later. This ensures a periodic communication between the clients And the Desktop Central has an intelligence to endure systematic, streamlined communication from all the agents at a regular interval. And this will slice down the number of client missions which should communicate to the main host. To make it more clear, say you manage 90 computers in a network. So one computer will contact the server per minute. If you manage 900 computers, 10 computers is going to contact the server per minute. And in case of 9,000 machines, 100 computers is going to contact the server per minute, which is in 60 seconds. So these are the ports used by Desktop Central product. The Desktop Central agent uses 8020 and 8383, which is a secure port for communicating with the Desktop Central host. And 8027 is a notification server port which listens, and it's a TCP port which listens always. And if you like to trigger any on-demand actions, and that happens through this notification server. And to know more about the inbound and outbound port details, you can visit the below link. It's desktopcentral.com/ports, and you can find the details about it. If you like to discuss about your own network architecture and how you can implement that in our tool, please register yourself for the free online demonstration where you can have a one-on-one session with our technician, and you can share your requirement and we'll be able to guide you correctly about the implementation part. All right, now let's have a deep dive into the asset management feature, and let's have a look at the benefits of inventory in Desktop Central. So this is our agenda for the training today. First, I'm going to show you the overview and the architecture of asset management section in Desktop Central. Then I've taken 4 use cases. I've been in support for the past 3 + 4 years. So I've taken 4 use cases based on my experience, which is going to comprehensively explain you the benefits of asset management or the features available in the asset management section of Desktop Central. The first real-time use case, what I'm going to show you is about managing Office 365 licenses, which explains about license management and software metering feature. Second, how to control bandwidth spikes and unauthorized applications in Desktop Central. Third, how to plan a Windows 10 upgrade. So using the asset details wherever you collect from the client computers, how you can report on that and plan for a Windows 10 upgrade. Fourth, how to proactively resolve the hard disk space issues. Followed by, we'll discuss some real-time scenarios and solution for it. And as I said, I'll also be in chat support. So I know what are the questions the customers would frequently ask us with respect to asset management section. So I'd like to share you that also. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the chat. We have our expert panel right here who will be answering your questions then and there. So we also have a large customer base who contributes to our community. So with the help of them, we were able to classify the applications as commercial automatically. Right now, we have 13,000 plus applications, and it's growing day by day. So we'll be able to classify the software category accordingly. Let's have an overview about the asset management. Why do an enterprise need to have a powerful tool like Desktop Central to manage the assets? And how does the scan takes place in our tool? And what kind of data we are going to collect? So that is what I'm going to show you in the upcoming slides. An enterprise needs an asset management in order to keep a track of the IT asset details, what they have. So what are the hardware and software associated to the client computers they manage? So as an administrator, whenever there's an audit purpose coming up, you should be readily available to submit the reports to provide the details about the hardware and software information they demand. And how does asset management work? As I said in the beginning, this product follows the client and server-based architecture. So you need to deploy the agents in every client computer you're going to manage. So right after an agent is deployed, we are going to perform 2 scans, an asset scan and then a patch scan. In today's training, we'll discuss more about the asset management section. So during the agent deployment, right after an agent is placed, it is going to perform a complete scan. It's going to collect all the hardware, software, and the user logon activities, which I'm going to show you now. So during the initial agent deployment time, it's going to perform a complete scan. Then after, based on the schedule time, or when an administrator initiates an on-demand scan, or whenever there is a new software gets installed or uninstalled, or a user logs in, it will trigger a scan, and it will only be a diff scan. It's going to compare the data with the previous scan, and it is going to post only the differential data. So this ensures only a minimal data is transferred from the clients to the server, and the resource will also be utilized at the minimum. So let me log into the console and show you how you can initiate a scan and what are the options or what are the details we will collect from the asset management section. Till now, if you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the chat. Our expert panel will be able to answer you. So as I said, right after an agent is deployed, it's going to perform a patch and an inventory scan. So let me go to the inventory tab, and you can also manually scan a computer from this option, scan systems. You can select the missions and you can initiate a scan. If not, you have scan all option. Else, you do have an option to schedule the scan. You can even schedule them on a weekly basis or a daily basis. So based on the scan, it's going to give you the asset details, the latest updated inventory information. So I'll go to inventory computers tab. So this is the dashboard of inventory section, the computer information here. So you'll see the basic details about the computers you manage, the computer name, the currently logged in user details, the domain it belongs to, and even you can see the OS-wise split up in the graph on top. So it is up to you. You can enable whatever columns you want to see in this computer's dashboard. And in order to show you the details what we collect from an inventory scan, let me click on a computer name. So all I'm going to show you now is the details what we collect for a particular computer during the asset scan. So we'll know when was the computer lastly scanned, who is currently logged in, and who was the last logon user, and the primary owner for the client computer, and whether the OS is licensed or not, how much free space is available, the total hardware and software count associated to this particular computer, the OS details, and the CDQ for it, and even the device manufacturer information will be collected. And you can also find the serial number and the expiry date. The warranty information will also be collected for this client. And you can also see what are the users mapped to the client computer and which are the group it belongs to, the shares available on the client machine, and per hardware type, you can see the description about it. You can even see how much memory slots are available, and even if it is connected through Wi-Fi and also through LAN, you can also find the different network adapters it's connected to, and what are the software installed on the client. You can find, even if you like to uninstall any software, you'll be able to do it right away from here. And what are the files available on the client? It is up to you. You can enable a file scan rule here, so which is going to capture how much count the audio or movie files available on the client computer and how much space has been taken by them, and the security details, whether BitLocker is enabled or not, if it is enabled, whether it is fully encrypted or not. So you can find all the details about the security details about a client computer and antivirus information. Even if you have any other AV, say a Kaspersky or a Symantec, you'll be able to find such information in here. So even you can check whether the antivirus is enabled or disabled. And USB auditing, you'll know when the USB device is connected and disconnected, how long it is being used. And even if you want to block any USB device, you'll also have an option under configurations module. So these are the details we will collect from a particular computer, and you can also find the same information for all the computers from the hardware and software summary. So let's have a quick walkthrough what we just saw. So I've explained about how a scan will take place and what are the details we will collect, the hardware, software details, the driver information, security details, and USB usage and the user logon information. Now, Let's go into the real-time use cases. So here is my first use case. I'm going to show you how we can manage Office 365 license using our tool. I can go to inventory section and I can go to every tab and explain you how we can configure this. But I've taken a use case which would comprehensively show you the benefits of these tabs or these options available in the inventory section. So like I said, I'm going to show you about Office 365 licenses and how we can manage it. Managing software licenses is one of the important aspects for an IT administrator. He has to check whether the software license are in compliance or when it is going to get expired. You need to check about the renewal. So you can go to manage license. So before I describe about the Office 365 license management, let me quickly show you how you can add a software details and how you can associate the license count to it. So you can click on add license option. First, you can even map the license count for a pre-installed application for the software which is already there on the client computer. For that, you can click on select application. You can choose the software. And you can provide the license count details here. So all you need to do is just mention the number of licenses you have purchased. And if you know the expiry date for the license, you can even specify that. So based on these information, if you even know the computer where the software is installed, you can even go and manually associate them to the list. If not, as you know, during the asset scan, we'll know what are the software installed on the client, so we will automatically map the license count to it. This is how you map a license count for an application which is already there on the client. What if in case before you want to install the software on the client machines, you want to fill up the details. So based on the compliance status, I might go and install the software. In that case, you can even type the software name and update the version details manually, and you can provide or associate the license count to it. So based on the input, say even if you find it very difficult to manually add the license details for every software you're going to manage, you can even make use of this import from CSV option. You can click on sample CSV, you can fill up the details, and you can even do a bulk upload. So based on the license count and the expiry date, what you specify, it's going to give you the compliance status. So now let's go into the use case. So I've already created a software licensing rule for Office 365. I've got 20 licenses and there are already 19 machines which has the software and there is one license remaining. So it shows as I'm over licensed. If the purchase count is more than the installation count, then it gives you the license status as over licensed. And if you're short of licenses, it gives you as under licensed. And if it is an equal account, you'll be able to see as in compliance. And the best part here is, so when the license count is going to get reached, there will be an alert generated to the administrator. And even when the software license gets expired, there will be another alert generated or notified to the administrators here. So let's have a quick walkthrough. So as you could see, the license compliance status is based on the number of licenses you have purchased and the number of installations. So even if you like to see in how many computers the software is installed, you just need to click on the managed installation count and you'll be able to see the list of computers where the software is installed. To make the use case more interesting, let me come up with another scenario. Let us assume that I'm the administrator and I'm managing the licenses for all the commercial software. And my HR team informed me that there are like 5 new joinees who is going to join the sales department tomorrow, and they are experienced candidates. They need the Office 365 software within a week. So how to deploy the Office 365 application to the new joiners, to the 5 members who is going to join the team? I will have only 2 options. I can either request my management to increase the license count because I have only 1 license free for Office 365. So if my management approves the additional license count, then I can just click on Actions tab I can click on add more option, and I can provide 5 more license count to it. And once the license details are updated, I can go and install the software on the new joinee's computer. What if in case my management doesn't approve for additional licenses? I'll only have one chance. I need to revoke the software from the existing users, and I need to give it to the new joinee. So how I can revoke is I'm going to find out what are the users who's not using the software properly, or the usage time was very less. Then I can, even if I could see some decommissioned computers, I can uninstall the software from them, and I can give it to the new joiners. So how to capture the usage of an application? That is why we have the software metering feature in inventory, which tracks down the usage count for an application. It tracks down when an application is opened and closed and how long they have been using it. So all the details will be captured, and every end of the day, the agent will post the status. So to create a software metering rule, you just click on add rule option, select the software, and provide the file name in here. I've already created a rule for Office 365. Let me just edit and show that to you. So once the rule is created, remember the 90 minutes refresh cycle. So whenever the agent contacts the server, it's going to apply these settings, and it's going to keep a track of every usage. And only, like I said, only at the end of the day, it's going to post the complete summary details to the desktop central server. You can check the software metering summary, the usage count from the inventory reports. If not, you'll also have the software metering summary details in here. So this rule is what I've created for Office 365. The discovered count is the number of computers where the software activity is being monitored, and how long, how much time the user have opened and closed in a day can also be found here. And the usage duration, the last use time. So all the details will be captured and given to you here. To check about the usage statistics, you need to click on the discovered count. This lists out the usage count for per computer, and the usage duration, the last use time per machine, it's been listed in here. So if I check in this list, I could see there are few computers who have utilized software only twice or thrice, and the last usage was months ago. So what will I do? I'm going to uninstall the software from these users, and I can give it to the new joiners. So this way, I can address the issues where the license count is short, and I need to give it to the new users who join the company. So first use case I've taken to show you how we can manage licenses, and also how we can track down the usage of an application using the inventory section available in Desktop Central. So if you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the chat. Let's move on to the next use case, controlling bandwidth spike and unauthorized applications in my network. Let's say in the last administrators meeting, there were two important concerns which were raised by my network security team. First, they reported that they could see a considerable amount of bandwidth which was consumed by the managed computers. Second, and they could also find some unauthorized application which has been used in the client computers. So as an administrator, it's my responsibility to address these situations. So I've requested a report from my network team, and I found that the bandwidth spike was due to the uterine software. I trust my users have started to download a lot of movies and videos which would have consumed a lot of bandwidth spike. So first, what I'll do, I'll go and find out in how many computers the uterine software is deployed. I can either find that option under software tab. This gives you the total summary for all the software installed in your network. You can make use of this search option. And find out in how many computers the uterine software is deployed. If not, we also have a report called computers with or without specific software. Even say, in order to find out in how many computers the uterine software is deployed, if you want to find out per department-wise, per remote office-wise, you also have a filter here, and you can choose the filter and then browse for the application from the list, and you'll be able to take a report on it. So using this report, I can even export these details in PDF, CSV, or XLS format. So once I came to know what are the computers has the uTerrain software, now I'll have to uninstall the application from these clients, and also I need to monitor whether the users are installing the application once again. In order to address that, we have a feature called Prohibit software, where you can blacklist applications. So whatever software you added here can be automatically uninstalled on the client machines, and even if the users require it, they can send a request, and you, the administrator, will have full control either to approve or deny. So let me show you how you can add an application to the prohibited section. Say you wanted to add this uTerrain software. So I've already added the application details in here, and right after the software is added to the prohibited section, I can choose the uninstallation command, so which will automatically uninstall the software from the client computer. And in case if I would like to exclude the uninstallation from certain users, say I don't want to uninstall uTerrain from the IT admins because they might have purpose of downloading software or files from the network. So you do have an option to exclude certain groups, if not computers, from the list. You can choose the domain and you can exclude it. So once after a rule is created, the same way, during the 90 minutes refresh cycle, the agents will get a prompt right after the rule is created, and the message, whatever you enable from the automate uninstall policy option, the message will appear on the user end. So whenever a user logs in on the computer, is going to see the same message. So these are the list of software which has been prohibited by your administrator, and you need to uninstall. The users will have 3 days time, and again you can customize that. Even if you want to give just 2 days or 1 day time for the users to uninstall, you can mention the reason. If the user doesn't uninstall within 2 days or 3 days, it's going to be automatically removed from the client PCs. And in case if the user requires the software, they'll also have an option to send a request from here. Instead of them composing an email and sending it to you for having the application, they have all these options right away from our agent service. So they can provide the reason here, and whatever they specify will form as an entry under the user request section, and you, the administrator, can go and either approve or deny. So based on your input, the software will get retained on the client computers. So this way, I can prohibit a software, and even if anyone tries to install the application once again, you can enable the alert section from here. So whenever a user tries to install a prohibit software, the administrator will get notified about it. So let's have a quick walkthrough on what we just saw about the prohibit software workflow. First, the administrator create a rule, and the agents will get notified right after the refresh cycle. When the agent contacts the server, it's going to have all the settings configured by the admin, and either the users can manually uninstall the software, or if they don't, then the desktop central server itself will automatically uninstall the application from the client. And in case if they require it, they can also send a request to you. So that is, prohibit software is a feature which helps you to add an application which is already there on the client computer. So whatever software is available in this section can only be added to the blacklist software section. What if in case there are like runtime applications, there are software which will not get listed under add or remove programs, or even we couldn't find any trace from the registry. So how to prevent such unauthorized application from running? That is why we have the block executable feature. For example, I could see an application called SCP which runs real time, and it is used for transferring files, which is a threat to my organization. So what will I do? I'll add such executable files in this section, and even though the user tries to install the software in future, or if they try to run it, the application will not run or perform on the client computers. So you can even provide the hashtag value. So even if the user tries to change the location or the name of the executable file and try to run it, you can still prevent that by providing the hashtag value here. So you can upload the executable files, and whenever the users try to open the software, it will not run on the client computers. So this ensures the unauthorized applications cannot be utilized from on my client computers. So to reiterate on the features, Prohibit software helps you to blacklist applications which are already there on the client computers, whereas block executable will prevent an application which is already there or which could be installed in future, but still it will not run on the client computers. So let's go to the next use case, how to plan a Windows 10 upgrade. Say let us go with the same example. My administration team have requested for the Windows 10 upgrade, and they have shared me some criteria to submit the report on the eligible mission. Say they have requested to find out uh, the computers which are under warranty and which has a hard disk space available more than 100 gigabytes. They have also specified some minimum RAM size. So we will capture all the details from the inventory scanning, right? So we have a report for the warranty details, and based on the disk usage, I can take a report and even I can submit this. But I need to make sure all the three criteria are specified or met. Only then those missions are applicable for Windows 10 upgrade. So that is why we have a custom report section. Users can build their own report from here based on the requirement what they have. So they can choose whatever columns they need and the criteria they specify. Based on this, you can generate a report. So I've already created one for the Windows 10 upgrade based on the criteria what my administrators specified. Say the physical memory should be more than 4000 MB, and the free space available should be more than 100 gigabytes, and the warranty should be till 2022. So you'll also be able to specify more criteria based on the requirement, and you can select the columns you need. So I can run this report and I can submit this to my management team. And maybe the Windows 10 upgrade, they're going to process it based on the department wise. So first they would like to process it for finance department, then marketing team, then sales team, then followed by testing. So you can also create groups, and you can also bridge groups and along with the criteria, and you can generate a report. In my organization, each department is being grouped based on OUs. So we have AD reports in here, we have computer reports. So I can go to computer accounts by OU and find out what are the departments and what are the missions available in my organization, and I can filter this based on the criteria I need, and I'll be able to generate a report. But anyway, AD report is an add-on, so I cannot combine the Active Directory report with an inventory. So what will I do? And that is where the query reports will come into play. So if you're expertise in writing SQL query, you can get the DB schema from our team, and you'll also be able to write your own query. If not, you can always contact us via live chat, or you can create a support ticket and share your requirements. We will write a query based on the requirement what you specify, and we'll be able to give it to you. So I've written a query to club both the department-wise split along with the eligible criteria. So based on the RAM space available, based on the department I can just modify this and I can run a report. So this specifies based on the sales department, based on the marketing section. So you can submit this report to your team, and they can take it further for proceeding with the Windows 10 upgrade. So that was the third use case, which shows how to build a custom report, or how we can write a query report and export it based on the requirement what you have. Now let's move on to the fourth use case, how to proactively resolve the hard disk space issues. So as you know, prevention is always better than cure. So you can schedule a report in order to keep a track of the hard disk usage. Say, I want to schedule a report every week or once in a month in order to check how much space is being left over in all the clients I manage. So we have a report under the inventory section which shows computer by disk usage. I can specify a criteria here. So based on the total space available or the free space, if it gets less than 100 GB, then I would like to generate a report on this. I can specify a criteria and I can choose the frequency, how frequently I would like to get these reports. I can even run this on a daily basis or a weekly basis or monthly ones. It's up to you. So you can schedule the time and even in which format would you like to see these reports. You can specify that here and to which email address you need to send this report to. So based on this, I can keep a track about the hard disk space issues or the usage. And even if the hard disk space gets low, I can even generate an alert based on it. So we have inventory, configure email alert section here, where you can notify when a hardware is added or removed, or like we saw, when a Prohibit software gets installed, the administrator will get notified. In the same way, even we have a alert generation for the disk space. So this notifies the administrators. So when the free space gets less than 10%, the administrators will get notified about it. And even if you want to notify the users directly, we have an option under configurations tab. You have alert configuration. So you can specify when this free space gets less than 500 MB in a system drive, or even if you want to purge the temp files, you can go and do it. So this notifies the users and the administrators, and you can also take a report about it. So when you see such information, when you see computers with less than 100 GB or when and the hard disk space is very low, you can also avail this option under Tools tab, the System Tools, where you can run a task every week or every month in order to clear the temp files and the cache files, or even if you want to clear the recycle bin, you have an option here. So you can do a disk cleanup periodically in all the managed computers you have. You can clear the cache files. You can even go and delete the recycle bin. You can go and schedule this every week or once in a week or once in a month. It is up to you. So this ensures you are able to proactively resolve the hard disk space issues using the Desktop Central product. So if you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the chat and our team will be able to answer you immediately. So I've explained 4 real-time use cases which would comprehensively cover all the tabs available in the inventory section, about license management, about software metering feature, and how we can take control over the application. And now in the real-time scenarios, we'll also able to see the predefined reports available. And even apart from the predefined reports available, even if you want to build your own custom report, you do have an option like we saw. Anyway, so let's go and discuss about certain real-time scenarios. So I want to add additional information about the computers or to my computers. So is it possible? So as we saw, we collect a lot of details from a client PC. So we know what are the hardware, software associated with the client and computers, and file details, the security information. So apart from this, even if you want to input your own custom data to it, you do have an option for that under our inventory section. You have add custom field options here. So you can specify whether it is a computer-wise view or a software view, and is it of numbers. You can specify the details as per your need, and you can add your own column, and you can even do a bulk update for the custom field which you have just added. So second scenario, we have an IT policy of decommissioning systems every 5 years. So how do I get a list of those computers? So we have inventory reports, which has computer by age. We have computer by OS, computer by disk usage. Likewise, we have a report for computers by age where you can find out the install date, and you can apply filters from here, or else you can just click on the paragraph available, which will only list out those machines, and you can export the details to it. The shared directories with access is a security threat. How to identify that in inventory? So we have a report for this as well. So you can go to inventory reports. You have system reports here, and we have shared details, which will list out the computer name, the shared details available, the path, and what type of permission it's been enabled for these shares available on the client computers. So you can find out whether it is a full control or whether it has only read and write permission. And even if you want to enable, say you want to disable the full control, or you want to give only read and write permission for a particular file or a folder, you still have an option in Desktop Central. You have it under configuration, which will come in the upcoming weeks. We will be discussing in detail about this. But anyway, let me quickly show you that. You can go to add configuration. We have permission management here. So you can specify for which file and for what permission would you like to give, not just for file, even for folder and registry can be specified from the permission management. So that is about the third scenario. And the fourth one, Dropbox is installed at the user level. And I would like to know or get the list of computers which has the software deployed. So we have a user-specific software report under the inventory report section. User-specific software, which will only list out the application or the user-specific software in this list. And if you click on the count, it's going to give you the list of computers where the software is installed. The computer name is specified. You can sort the order of columns which is getting listed here. So you have the columns user option. You can just drag and drop, or you can just move the columns as per your requirement. And we will also list out the installed user account details in here. So this will show you the Dropbox software or any user-specific software which is installed on the client computers. And the fifth scenario, I want to identify the computers with local administrator account. Is this possible? Yes, we do capture this information. We have system group user details, which will capture the account information available or mapped to the client computer. Say, even if you are not just local administrators, if you want to fetch a report for other admin accounts available, you can just sort it based on the order, and you'll be able to take a report on this. By default, the group name equals administrators referred to the local administrator account. So you can find the information about it in here, and you can even export this details in PDF, CSV, or XLS format. So these are the 5 scenarios. Even if you have any questions, or if you would like to know the possibility of achieving any options in our inventory section, please feel free to post them in the chat box. Now, as I said, I'm going to show you some frequently asked questions with respect to the inventory management. So first, let's say, do we need to install both Asset Explorer agent or Service Desk Plus agent along with Desktop Central? No, just one agent, which is of ours. The Desktop Central agent is sufficient to capture all the asset details, and it can replicate to Asset Explorer or Service Desk Plus. So when you add a program to the Prohibit software list, does it take all the versions of the software into account? Yes, this is a very common question which we used to get it from our support. Do I need to update the Prohibit software list every time? For now, we have an option only to map only one account or only one version to the blacklist software. So even if you see the Prohibit software list, I've added 5 different versions of uTerrain in order to prevent this from installation, or in order to prevent the usage from my client computers. So what you can do is you also have an option to group software. You can go to Manage License, you can go to Group Software, you can add all the uTerrain software into one, and you'll be able to prohibit them. Say I have created a group for Adobe software, so I've added 5 Adobe versions into one. And if I want to prohibit the whole Adobe software, then I can go to Software tab. I can search for Adobe, and I need to prohibit the group instead of doing per version. Say this is the group, this is the parent software which has been created. I can just select this application and you can just move it to prohibit software section. So this will ensure whatever software you grouped under the managed licenses will be restricted, will be prohibited in your network. The third question, in the inventory report of computers without specific software, how to specify a filter and schedule them. So as I showed before under the schedule report section, computer by disk usage, in the same way, you also have an option to filter based on certain criteria. Say you want to find out the computers with a specific criteria and you want to generate this report on a periodic basis, you have an option here. You can say you want to generate this report every week. You can add a criteria, not just for the computers without specific software. Even any report under the inventory section or any report on the other modules can also be filtered, and you can get a report on a periodic basis. Does Desktop Central detect what software is installed on each machine, and if it is licensed, does it have the capability to detect the product key? Of course, yes. We do fetch the software product keys for certain applications. You can even contact support and get the list of software for which they will capture the product key details. You can find the information from the inventory reports, software product keys, and you can find the CD key details or the software key details in this particular tab. Even if you have MS Office or Office 365 deployed, you will be able to find the software product key details in this particular report. So how can we identify the security status of the machines in my network? As we saw in the beginning, we collect the antivirus details, the BitLocker information, and even the firewall status. How you can collectively see the security status for all the client computers. So we have the inventory reports for it. We have security reports. Say if you want to take a report on the machines where the antivirus is disabled, you can go to AV details. You have a filter based on the production status. You can choose disable, and this will list out the computers. You can take a report and you can submit this for auditing purpose even. So not just the antivirus, or even for BitLocker or any security report you wanted to fetch, you'll be able to make use of it. So these are the predefined reports available. So you have an option to generate based on the expiry date and based on the file categories available. And even if you're looking for out of the box, say out of these predefined reports, if you're looking to build your own report, you do have an option to create from the custom groups or a query report. So that's all for today's webinar for the asset management section. Please rate us on a scale of 1 to 5, where 5 being the best. And if you like our training program, please spread a word. The social media is booming, so you have the hashtag for Desktop Central and hashtag for free training. Please, if you like a training program, please spread a word. And the next training schedule is about remote control, which is going to happen next week. So we have 2 slots. One is at 6:30 a.m. GMT and then 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we are going to show the benefits of remote control, the system manager, and even we saw about the disk cleanup feature today. We'll also be able to find the options in here. As I said, if you like to discuss about your own requirement, and if you wanted to see how we can implement the solution in your end, then you have the link below, so you can register yourself for the free online demonstration, where we will have one-on-one session with our technician. We'll understand the requirements, what you have, and based on the criteria or the requirement what you have, we'll be able to present the solution or help you with implementing it on your side. So we do have this EMS World Tour coming up. These are the upcoming events which is happening all over the world. So you have the EMS seminar, the recent seminar coming up on 30th May in Spain. So thank you again for your time. You guys have a wonderful day ahead.